I was lucky enough to be invited to see the cast change gala of Moulin Rouge. Now, I have a confession. I have never seen the film Moulin Rouge. I had never listened to the musical. I knew absolutely nothing going into this. Don't crucify me. I'm sorry. But you know what? I was pleasantly surprised. I think it's a show that knows itself and provides so much spectacle. But what are my full thoughts on Moulin Rouge? What did I like? What was I more critical of? Today, I will tell you all my thoughts on the show and the new cast. But if you haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Ellie. I talk about theatre. I do reviews, I do discussions, I do video essays. And if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting like and subscribing. It really helps me out, it helps out the channel. We also have my Instagram, which I am updating, and I'm slaying the game over there. So you better go to that link in the description and drop a follow over on Instagram. You gotta go do that. With that said, let's talk about Moulin Rouge. Now, I have a lot to praise with this show, so let's start at the very beginning. From the moment you enter the theatre, you can tell how much attention to detail they've put into the design. The entire theatre has been decorated and redesigned to really place you into the Moulin Rouge. The walls are lined with red fabric, there's chandeliers on the ceiling, there's like draped curtains, there's a giant elephant, a giant windmill, or a Moulin Rouge if you're French and you're nasty. There's a giant neon sign. You really feel the atmosphere as soon as you walk in. This is one of those shows where you really want to get in there early so that you can really absorb yourself into this space. I think the set design overall is something that I really need to sing praises to high heaven for. I think this is one of, if not the best set design that we have in the West End right now. It flows so naturally into the different locations. The set pieces are glamorous. There's obviously the iconic love heart shaped performing area. There's the platform that rises up and down to create the stage. But I also love the different locations like the dressing room and the Bohemian's apartment that looks over the beautiful L'Amour sign. There's so much detail, and I really appreciate how each location feels so different. We go from the beautiful reds and flashy lights of the Moulin Rouge to the streets of Paris with these tall buildings. And then we go to the more theatrical spaces, such as the end of Act 1, in this beautiful sequence where the entire theatre gets lit up with stars. Add to that the lighting design as well. The different colours that we get. One of my favourite variations of the set is when the lights go to this really bright blue and I'm just like, oh. The lighting just helps to build on the set design and gives it so much spectacle. The design of the lighting and the set come together so well to really build this eye-catching world. I also love how immersive it feels. I was lucky enough to be given seats in row E of the stall, so I was very close to a lot of the action. And there were several walkways going around kind of like the edge of the theatre. It felt so expansive, and it felt like there was so much to look at, up, down, left, right, everywhere. It does such a great job at immersing you into the world. There's so much to look at, so much to see. Add to that the glamorous costumes, my favourite being the can-can dresses. Oh my god, they're so pretty and flowy and oh, I want to wear one so bad. And another shout out to Satine's first diamond outfit that comes down. Honestly, just all of the design, costumes, lighting, set, everything about the design of this show is 10 out of 10. There's so much detail. There's so much to look at. It is beautiful. I would pay for a ticket to this show just to look at these costumes. Just put them in a museum, flash up the lighting somewhere. I would sit for 2 hours just looking at this set. It is beautiful. It is flowy. It is so good. Then there's the choreography. And oh my god. It's so good. it really heightens all of these different songs. And the most impressive sequences, like Bad Romance and both the opening and ending to Act 1, are so well done. It's so slick and so stylized. And when we have these giant chorus numbers with everyone on stage, it just blows you away. I think it is safe to say that from a visual standpoint, from the set, choreography, lighting, everything that you are looking at, perfection with this show. Perfection. Now, let's talk about the reason I was there last night, and it was to review this new cast, and I must say, our 3 new leads are amazing. Matt Rixon as Harold Ziedler. Is it Ziedler? It's Ziedler? Zedler? Zidler? Harold Zidler. Is that what I said? I don't know what I said. Matt Rixon as Harold Zidler is such a fantastic host. From the second he pops his head through that curtain, you are instantly drawn into him. He's so camp, he's so lovable, he has it cranked to 11. Even though when you compare it to our other leads, he doesn't get the most to do in the show, he still feels like a very strong presence, and I really like how they incorporate him into the show. He starts off very much as this host, and then eventually you start to see the more human side of him. And I really enjoy the different elements that they give to his relationship to Satine. Talking of Satine, Melissa James is just so great in this role. She's one of the more tragic characters in the show, and she really sells it. Her conflicts, her character journey, it's so interesting to watch. And Melissa James really sells the struggles that Satine feels. And also, her vocals, from her first entrance coming down from the gods, singing the Diamond mashup, it's so beautiful. I really enjoyed her Satine, very much so. But the star of the show for me was 100% Jamie Muscato. Oh my god. He is so good as Christian. His vocals are superb. He gets this giant moment to shine in Act 2 during El Tango de Roxanne, which I think is the song. Look, the mashups have different names and I don't really know. He has this tone to his voice, he gives it a little growl and it's so effective. I almost fainted in my seat from the growl. And look, a man growling doesn't typically, excite me. But my god. That was a growl. He really sells the different elements to Christian. You really feel the journey his character goes on, from the kind of awkward start to the absolutely heartbroken lover. His performance adds so much to this show. It is incredible. A massive shout out to our 3 leads. And I also want to say that our supporting cast and ensemble are all really strong. The chorus of this show do a lot. They are dancing, they're switching costumes. It would be wrong not to praise their efforts. Now, I have just spent so long praising this show because it deserves it. So let's move on to what I'm slightly more critical of. Now, this is going to be a little bit weird because I'm going to kind of praise it and criticize it at the same time. I think the music of this show is very good. Now, this is a jukebox musical at its heart, however, it's not really themed. You know how, like, Mamma Mia is the music of ABBA, or even something like & Juliet, which is in a similar vein where it takes loads of different music. At least that had the running theme of it's all written by the same person. Moulin Rouge just has a lot of different music, and it feels very chaotic with this. You go from Never Gonna Give You Up to Crazy to Rolling in the Deep. There's a lot of variety in there, and I must say the orchestrations do a lot to help this, and to make it feel cohesive. However, I feel like this is where we get into some of the musical's tonal inconsistencies. When the musical is making fun of itself, when it understands that it's a jukebox musical and it's a little bit camp and, it's quite silly that they're gonna randomly go into Royals by Lord, and, they kind of laugh along with the audience, that's where this works best. Honestly, that's where a lot of jukebox musicals work best. But at the end of the day, this is a tragic story. It has a tragic ending, and when it's trying to make you take it seriously, it's quite hard to do that when you're launching into random pop songs. Now, I'll try and do this without spoiling it, but a moment where I really couldn't hold back my laughter was the moment in Act 2 where Christian's kind of at his lowest. He's a bit heartbroken, he's a bit like, ah. I love everything about the setup of this. He's towards the back of the stage, there's a giant spotlight on him. It's so dark and all you can see is him. And then he starts singing the lyrics to Crazy. It just goes, I remember when I lost my mind. I lost it. Like, in that moment, it's trying to make the audience take it seriously, but it's very hard to do that when you're singing this song. I think I approach this criticism the way that I'm doing, kind of praising and not praising at the same time, because it is a little bit of a double-edged sword. As explained to me by my good friend Mickey Joe Theatre. If you're not subscribed to Mickey Joe Theatre, go subscribe to Mickey Joe Theatre now, come on now. As the film did originally take itself seriously, and if it didn't really stay faithful to that in the musical, it wouldn't really have appeased the fans of the film. And I feel like my judgment is probably different from someone who is a massive fan of the film, because I haven't seen it. I have nothing to compare it to. But I enjoy the musical most when it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, when it's a little bit like, yeah, we know we're a little bit silly, we're a little bit goofy, just go along with it, it's a musical. Because I think these mashups are really fun. It's really nice to see the songs that they pick and how they gel them together, even though they may be different styles or different ideas. I love the little jokes that they put in, hinting to other songs that aren't in the show, like Never Gonna Give You Up, like Sound of Music. It kind of shoots itself in the foot a little bit when it's doing this while also trying to tell a serious, tragic tale. I think Moulin Rouge is best if you kind of appreciate it for what it is. At the end of the day, it's a jukebox musical with popular songs, it's a little bit camp, and, you know, it's just a musical that you go to when you want a little bit of that. And I think it should not be undersold how much of a spectacle this show truly is. It's so beautiful to watch, and even though it has these tonal inconsistencies, I think there is just so much to love. I think this is a strong 4-star show. Even though its story and tone is a little bit weaker, the music is bold, the mashups are so fun and different and engaging, the choreography is spectacular, and the entire atmosphere just brings you into this world. I would really recommend Moulin Rouge. If you want a big, flashy West End show with high production values, great choreography, and something beautiful to look at, Moulin Rouge is exactly what you want. But what do you think? Have you seen the film Moulin Rouge? Have you seen the musical? What's the differences between the two? Which version do you prefer the best? And have you seen this new cast in the show? Because they are mwah, I must say. Leave all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribing. It really helps me out and helps the channel. And also remember to go follow my Instagram and also my Twitter while you're at it. There's some links to my other videos on screen right now, but that's it for me today, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye.